everyone. Welcome to Reunion Gold's live investment summit today, hosted by Six. I'm pleased to introduce our speaker for today, Reunion Gold's CEO, Carlos Bertoni. Carlos is going to walk us through a company presentation, his recent PR, and we'll be taking some questions live afterwards. I'd like to remind the audience members that you can submit your questions in the Q&A tab found on the right-hand side of your screen. And as always, this event is being recorded, and it'll be available to watch on demand in the coming days on Six.com. Without further ado, Carlos, I'd like to hand things over to you and get us started.
Thank you. A pleasure being here today. Pleasure talking to you and bringing news about Reunion Gold. We continue to be very excited about our projects, in particular the Oko West Project in Guyana. Yesterday, we issued another press release. Our previous release was issued on June 13th, so it was about time to bring you up to date on what we're doing. So this press release, again, very important events and advances are being informed on this release. And we do plan to continue issuing press releases at a rate of about every 2 months. And so to keep our shareholders informed of progress. The key takeaways from this particular release, one is that we continue to have outstanding drill results from our drilling campaign at this Oko West project in Guyana. I invite you to look at our website where you can see more information, maps about location of this project and what we've done so far. I'm not going to go back and recollect all this previous information. And this project is located in Guyana. Guyana, of course, is in the north shore of South America, and a country we know well. And we've been working in Guyana for many years. And previously, in the 90s, we were very active in Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana. Actually, the name Reunion comes from a group of people getting back together in this region, reuniting to create wealth and to define new gold resources. So Reunion made and announced the discovery of what we call the Oko West Project in Guyana. This project is about 90 kilometers due southwest from the capital city of Georgetown. And we've drilled a bit over 30,000 meters of core drilling in this project. It's a new discovery. Some analysts are calling the best gold discovery of the year. Thank you for that. Saying that about this discovery, it's really interesting because it's really something completely new. For once, we're not drilling under some artisanal pit, some old workings. It's something was discovered with taking soil samples in the grid and finding gold anomalies from the soil samples, and then drilling underneath the soil samples and defining a deposit, a gold deposit. Of course, we have not disclosed yet how many ounces we found. That's going to come. But you can tell from the information we've released, including this last one, that is something significant. And it's also something, a deposit that looks like it will be mineable by open pit methods, which is an important feature because you started from the surface. And the gold mineralization in these rocks are preserved from the very top. And when you have weathered rocks and you continuous at depth, we've drilled this deposit down to a vertical depth from the surface of almost 600 meters. So demonstrating that gold mineralization is continuous over from the surface to that depth. That gives an idea the size of this thing. And we also drilled this deposit over what we call the strike length of about 2.5 kilometers. So it's something becoming sizable and interesting. So the first feature of this press release was to announce about 10 drill hole highlights. We cannot possibly give every result in a press release table like this. You're invited to consult our results in our website. We pride ourselves to be transparent So we posted today all what we call composites, all the intervals, mineralized intervals that we've drilled so far in our website. We give the hole location with the coordinates, the azimuth, the dip of the hole, and the results from each drill hole. Some, of course, don't have any good results, but we also show that fact. So we want to work with full transparency and keep our shareholders informed. So I don't expect you to be able to read the text here on this press release, but I just want to point out a couple of things using the maps and the sections that go with it. So this particular slide, which is the first figure on this press release, is as a map, a geological map, showing displaying the schematic geology in this area. Of course, a very simplistic way. We have in this map, we have this rock here, the pink, which is a granite. All this granitic material is this pinkish rock. In the center of this exploration blocks, that's how we show it, we have another set of rocks, which are sedimentary rocks, both of clastic and volcanic origin. These rocks, they strike north-south, and they are the contact between these granitoids and this rock here in green, which are volcanic rocks. So this is a corridor of sedimentary rocks caught in between granites and mafic volcanics. So when you have a situation like that geologically, and rocks that get caught between two masses of other rocks which had very different characteristics, these rocks really take the blunt of any movement of the rock masses, what we call tectonic movement. So these rocks became very strongly deformed, broken up. And when you break a rock like that, a sequence of rock, you create a lot of space. So any fluids, of course, because this happened, millions and millions of years ago, and of course this happened not on the surface, not at this erosional level. There were a lot of fluids moving through these rocks, hot fluids, and these fluids would essentially take gold away from the surrounding rocks and channel them to these open spaces. And these fluids will cool down, forming quartz veins. Of course, these fluids are carrying gold. So that's how you end up with gold veining, filling fractures, filling shears and fractures, etc. And on this center part. So our deposit essentially characterized by this corridor of the formed rocks. This corridor is 2.5 kilometers long, and is about that deformed rock between 70 to 100 meters wide. So this is what our gold deposit is made of, this corridor of deformed and broken rocks. So this is what we've been drilling. And this map, if you look at with a bit more detail, you see all those black dots, and you see a bunch of red dots. The black dots represent all the drill holes that we already done. And the highlights here, the calls, these are the results that we're publishing in this particular press release. If you look at some of these results, for example, you see some good numbers here. For example, the first one, let's look at the second one here. This is 2.74 grams per ton over 59 meters over in this area here. And then we show here, for example, another good result here. That's 3.29 grams over 51 meters. This is a hole this is the color. This is where the hole started and is drilled towards the west, et cetera, et cetera. Then we go south here, what we call block 6. And we have a couple new holes. For example, this one had 3 grams over 37 meters. this is an interesting feature because this block, we just start drilling it right now. The bulk of our work is here, what we call block 4, the center part. This is block 4 here, okay? And this is block 1, okay? This is block 5. Okay? These blocks were put here just for the convenience to show where we are. And we start drilling here on fences spaced every 100 meters, then after 50 meters. And that's by doing this grid kind of drilling, we're able to define the geometry of mineralization as it goes up and down this set of blocks. We also notice all these red points to the left here, to the east of those blocks. This is our program, our drilling program, which we just announced. Yeah? In July 13, we announced the results of this particular hole here. This is hole 112. That's the deepest hole we drilled at that time. And we got exceptional good numbers. We got, for example, 3.7 grams over 71 meters at a vertical depth of about, the intersection of that is about in this area. It intersected that length and that grade at almost 600 meters in depth. Okay? As you can see from our program that we're proposing to do now, we're proposing to drill all these red dots. Okay? As you can tell, we will drill another set of holes that depth, and we do expect to find similar results like that, where we're also doing 3 holes here, which will be much deeper, demonstrating that this system continues further to the depth. Okay, so all these red dots here represent about 28,000 meters of drilling. Okay? That is quite a bit of drilling, and when you consider that our drilling capacity is about right now 4,000 meters per month. We're bringing another 2 rigs next month that will increase our drilling capacity to 7,500 meters per month. We expect to drill this 28,000 meters by by sometime in January, February next year. And as you can guess, we will be demonstrating, and this is over a length of 800 meters here, from this point to the south here, to this point to the north here. Okay? This is 800 meters between those arrows. Will demonstrate that this deposit continues at depth. Okay? The density of drilling, as you can see, is becoming more sparse as you go to the east and more dense as you go to the west. So this is what defines the type of resources that you end up estimating. So we do expect to estimate, let's say, what we call indicated resources in this area here, and we'll be doing inferred resources with these drill holes. Okay? So this is something that we're planning to do, and that we announced on this press release as well. And so these holes will be demonstrating mineralization is attainable at about 600 meters, and these 3 holes here will demonstrate the mineralization continues maybe 800, 900 meters in depth. Okay, so this is a more very challenging holes in terms of getting them done. They'll be almost 900 meters long, but we have the tools to do it, and that will be what we're going to use to demonstrate that mineralization continues at depth. Okay, and then let's move now to the next figure here. This is a longitudinal section. Actually, let me move back here just for a second. I just want to explain that this next figure is a section that goes from here to here. Okay, it's drilled between those 2 arrows. It's drilled, it's drawn between those 2 arrows. So what we call a longitudinal section, and we'll be looking to the west, okay, when we look at that section. So that's what is coming up on the next figure. And this is to demonstrate what we're talking about. As you can see on the top here, this is block 4. The bulk of the mineralization here is in block 4. And this has been drilling to a depth about 250 meters. That was our previous target. We had this particular hole 112, that demonstrated mineralization does continue at that depth. And what we're showing here in blue dots are the drill holes where we're planning to do to demonstrate that this mineralization does continue at depth and extends laterally. Extends over to the here, extends over to the here. And so that's the bulk of our drilling program. But something else that has happened, and we announced in this press release, this guy's here. We have 2 very interesting holes, what we call in block 6. Okay, block 6 is an area with very little drilling, and we got some very good results near the surface. And these are 30 meters of around 30 meters, around 3 grams, 37 meters, and now we're going to chase this near surface mineralization at depth. Okay? So we'll do that. We'll be drilling here at depth, and we do expect the mineralization will be as substantial as this. We just have to demonstrate it by drilling. So there's quite a few holes planned here as well. Okay? So this longitudinal section is typical of how to demonstrate what we're doing. These contours here, these represent the grade times downhole thickness, and that's one way to represent what the bulk of the mineralization is as we progress. So we'll continue using this kind of representation as we go forward in our press releases. So I just want to show now a section, a geological section that is going to be shown right to the guts of this thing. Okay, this section is going to go from here to here. Okay, it's a cut right through this area here, and that is the next slide. Okay, this is what we call a geological section, and again, it illustrates the nature of the mineralization. This is the deep hole here, hole 112, our deepest hole. This intersection here is at a vertical depth of 575 meters and very good length and very good grade. As you can see, 71 meters at almost 4 grams. We already drilled this hole up here in the section. The results are pending. We drilled another hole here. The results are pending to demonstrate continuity of mineralization down dip. Okay, and we just announced a recent hole done near the surface here, this guy, okay, which gave 5 grams over 52 meters. That's an interesting feature because it's a hole demonstrating that we have very good gold grades near the surface within the weathered material. This line here, okay, this dashed line represents the depth of weathering. Okay, this is material above this line is soft, made mostly of clay, and that's free digging. So for any gold mine, if you have a lot of this material, it's very good for your payback because you don't have to blast. You just dig the stuff, send it to the mill, and even at the mill, you don't need a primary crusher. You just process it much quicker, much cheaper, much lower energy input than when you're mining the unweathered rocks like from here. So having so much what we call the saprolite, weathered rock on the surface is a key feature in any deposit in this part of the world to give you a good payback. You can see from the scale here on the left, we have a good, at least 50 meters thickness. This ranges from 50 to 100 meters actually, and that's going to be free digging and great for a quick payback. So this is an interesting feature for this deposit. As I say, this is a brand new discovery. As you can see from the surface, there's no pits. We are drilling right from the surface. We're not drilling under any artisanal pits. So all this saprolite material is preserved and available for us to mine as we go forward. So this is the nature of this beast. And you can see on the east here, there's one granitoid. This pink is a granite. Here's another one. On the west, we call the footwall. And in between, we have the sedimentary rocks. These rocks were caught in between those two granites, and they were thoroughly broken up and sheared. That's why you have so much mineralization along this band here, yeah? From the surface to the depths, yeah? That we are. So this is the bulk mineralization, almost like a plywood system, yeah? And this is something that the width of mineralization here, the true width, would be like from here to here, and this ranges between 50 to 100 meters, depending on which section you're looking at. Okay? So that's the nature of gold mineralization at Oko West. So we are very proud, and as I said, we'll be drilling other holes, to the north and to the south, along the same depth, demonstrating that mineralization does continue laterally as we go north and south of this deposit. We are planning to announce our maiden resource will be probably the first quarter next year. We have this 28,000 meters to do, and that will put us in a very good position to announce substantial resources in what we call the indicated and inferred categories. We expect the indicated material and the resources will be down to the depths of about 200 meters or so, about indicated to be about this depth. We expect inferred resources to be around this depth. So we have a good combination of indicated resources, which of course you can only do when you have a higher density of drill points and data points, and you have an inferred resource when you have not as many drill points, but you have the demonstration that mineralization is there, and that you just need to continue drilling and demonstrate it. Okay, so this is a good. We're very encouraged by what we see. Our neighbors to the north, G2 Goldfields, they're already drilling deeper holes than we are. They've demonstrated mineralization beyond 700 meters. There's no reason why ours should not continue at depth. We just need to demonstrate it by drilling other holes and intersecting at those depths. So that's part of the 28,000 meters program. We're getting, as I said, 2 more rigs in September. These will be stronger rigs that will be able to drill deeper holes, and we will demonstrate the continuity of this mineralization laterally and at depth. Okay. The other point that we announced in this press release is that it's nothing to do with the geology, of course, but it's to do with the future that the Guyana government has authorized the issue of a prospecting license to Reunion Gold Inc., our local subsidiary. That's an important event because we will be holding title to our name. Title so far has been held under third party, the entrepreneurs we auctioned this ground from. As we go forward, we'll be working from title that is under our name, and we have full control of this title. That brings additional obligations and opportunities as well, which we will explore fully as we move forward with this project. And that's in a summary, in a nutshell, where we are with this project. So I'll be happy to entertain some questions from you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Carlos. I'd like to remind everyone in the audience that you can ask those questions in the Q&A chat found on the right-hand side of your screen. We do have some questions, though, Carlos, so it'd be great if you could shed some light or further reiterate some of your points you've gone over today. First being, are you sufficiently funded to do the work you propose to do? Do you have the money to carry on with your exploration program?
Yes, thanks for the question. Yes, we are. We were very well supported by our shareholders and some institutions. And in July, the week of July 13, we were able to close a bought deal. And so we currently have in the treasury a bit over $50 million. Right? And that is sufficient to, of course, to carry this program forward to this 28,000 meters drill program. And by the way, we're not stopping at 28,000 meters. That's our current program. That's the program to demonstrate the resources we want to deliver early next year. This project will continue to be drilled into next year, etc. We're also doing environmental baseline work. We have done already the wet season basic field surveys. We're going to be doing now in October what we call the dry season surveys. That is flora, fauna, vegetation, water, etc. We're also doing metallurgical testing. We start testing this mineralized and immineralized rocks to be sent to our lab to demonstrate how recoverable gold is from these rocks. And we're doing quite a bit of improvements to the camp, et cetera, et cetera. So we're very fortunate to be well funded at this point. And into next year, we're not saying exactly what we'll be doing, but we'll be considering doing a few more engineering studies in terms of geotechnical, water, hydrology, and infrastructure. There are a number of studies that will need to be done. That will probably happen towards the second half of next year.
Right, absolutely. The next question is, when do you plan to issue your maiden resource estimate?
Yeah, as I mentioned, we have not established a date. We want to complete the essential drilling that we're planning to do. We had previously indicated that we consider issuing a maiden resource this third or fourth quarter of this year. Given the results we've received so far and the continuing success of the drilling, we want to deliver, I'd say, larger resources, more complete set of numbers, good mass of rocks in the indicated, good mass of rocks in the inferred category. That requires drilling. As I've been saying, our current 28,000 meter program will deliver good numbers. I cannot speculate here what they will be, but we expect them to be quite substantial. So let's see, tentatively, we would like to consider having those numbers out as a technical report under National Instrument 43-101. This is, of course, the Canadian regulations for you to issue resources that will be prepared independently by a third party after done, going through the results in time, at least for the PDAC, I'd say sometime in March next year. That's a tentative date we're looking at.
Right, absolutely. Another question, are you currently permitted?
Well, there are many types of permits we could consider. As I mentioned, we are about to receive what is called a prospecting license. A prospecting license is a type of title in Guyana that allows you to do advanced exploration. Okay? It's normally has a 5-year term. And so within 5 years, we're supposed to reach some conclusions about this deposit, but also triggers some opportunities and some obligations. The obligations is to obtain an environmental authorization to do the work we're planning to do. We're working with that, in which we will deliver to the Guyana EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, a full set of plans, what we're planning to do for their review, but also creates an opportunity for us, and we plan to exploit, that is an investment agreement with the government of Guyana. That is, of course, there will be many capital expenditures on this project, including related to drilling, related to building infrastructure, we will have to purchase, for example, heavy equipment, bulldozers, excavators, rigs, etc. So all these capital items, communications, all these capital items that are needed for the project, we could buy under an investment agreement duty-free, because these are essential goods and services that are not available in the country. They need to be imported. So Guyana recognizes this need and allows you to import them duty-free. Of course, they're going to review the list, approve it, etc. But that's an important feature that once you obtain the prospecting license. And once we complete the exploration, we complete the engineering work, the next step is to do an environmental impact assessment. That's a full environmental study. And then eventually apply for a mining license that allows you to mine. Okay? Of course, it's a bit early to talk about that, but we have to start thinking about negotiating a mineral agreement with the government of Guyana, which will establish the fiscal terms for the project.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Carlos, that looks like all the questions received for today. So I want to thank you for coming on and walking us through the great presentation and also taking those questions. Before we wrap up the day, though, I'd like to hand things back to you for some closing remarks.
Thank you. A pleasure talking to you. Pleasure talking to our shareholders and potential shareholders. Be happy to continue providing information. As I said, we're providing a full set of results in our website. We'll be updating our website on the project page coming week. And we're looking forward to seeing you as a shareholder and continue sharing our excitement about this discovery. Thank you. Good day.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Carlos. And with that, we'll be wrapping up for the day. So I hope you and everyone else in attendance has a good one. Cheers.
See you. Bye-bye.